it's that time of the show. We're going to bring on our guest, the cameraman, highlight reel editor, and video producer for an upcoming series based here in Cincinnati for the Cincinnati Trojan Black. We're bringing in my man, Lawrence Wright, Mr. Bengal fan himself. Lawrence, what's up, bro?
What's up with it, Brody?
What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? I gotta say, I already like watching y'all. Great debating. It's great.
I appreciate it, Lawrence. We supposed to already bring you on a while ago, but sometimes me and Clarence get to debating, and he says some ridiculous stuff, and I gotta deal with him. I gotta deal with him, Lawrence. So I be having to let him know about himself.
I was even surprised that he got 7 games. I thought he was gonna say the Thunder, so that kind of blew me up. Like, whoo,
yeah. But Lawrence, let's get right.
Yeah, two things. I just got to make a remark about the Lakers. I already sat here and said to everybody watching, the game to watch is going to be Portland Trail Blazers and the Lakers. I am going to say 7 games. I'm not going to switch it up from 6, 5. I'm not going to do that. I am going to say that the Blazers are going to take it in 7 games just because I believe Dame Dollar is that kryptonite that the Lakers can't handle, and he's already shown that from the years he's been playing. So I'm going to just leave it at that. I'm not going to get y'all going again. That's just what I've been seeing. I like him playing at MVP level inside the bubble. I like what he's doing and being a difference maker with the team. That's just what I've seen, and we're going to leave it at that.
Hey, smart man. But Lawrence, let's get right to it. I know you are a Bengals fan, and we know last year your Bengals finished a woeful 2-14 on the season. Y'all had the first overall pick in the draft. Y'all selected Joe Burrow. So before we get to Joe Burrow, what is your expectations for your Bengals this season as a team?
So number one, obviously an attitude change. You know, the culture change. When we sit there and saw, not to sit here and say Marvin Lewis did a bad job, but when you saw Marvin Lewis and how he was coaching the team and running it, it was a different culture. Just like with management. Management, before Zach Taylor came in, it was different. Never have I heard in Bengals history have we spent most money in free agency. We spent well over $160 million to bring in good players, which was impressive. So expectations right now is looking better than what it was coming in. And I know Zach Taylor's hungry because he's still looking to prove that he can be that guy to lead the team to, you know, the Super Bowl, which we always talked about. And even though they had the talent to get there, they just weren't quite there. I do believe Zach Taylor knows how to bring in the talent to do that. And the second thing is that obviously you look at the division right now, there's been a lot of changes. You see a lot of young quarterbacks coming in. You know, Lamar Jackson, Baker Mayfield, Joe Burrow now. The only person who's a veteran right now is Roethlisberger, which his time eventually is going to come. So look for expectations similar to what the Browns are, revamping, re-innovating, doing things different, bringing a different culture in, spending a little bit more money, and taking the talent that we actually have and using it. And he's also showed that he's not afraid to make moves, making cuts. And we also know that they've already cut a few players that we know. One notable one, big one, was Dre Kirkpatrick, who still isn't signed with the team yet. So again, I look for big changes to come with the Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not going to sit here and say playoffs off the bat, but I do believe they can make a run to get there.
Real quick, Clarence, before you go on real quick, I got to say this. He brought up Dre Kirkpatrick. Dre Kirkpatrick need to go. He needed to go.
He needed to.
Every game that I watched him get burnt. Every single game. Like, he was one of those players that jumped off my screen in a negative way. Like, he needs to go. Even it's some Bengal fans, y'all, that I know. I got a lot of Bengal fans, obviously. I'm a Packers fan, Lawrence, by the way. But I got a lot of Bengal fans that I'm friends with and I'm family with as well. And even real live true Bengal fans, they were saying Patrick was trash. I'm not to say that. What you think, Clarence?
Man, listen, I think for Drake Kirkpatrick, that he had, y'all hear me? Look, I think Drake Kirkpatrick's situation, he couldn't tackle. He wasn't a good tackler in open field.
That wasn't just it. He couldn't cover either.
Yeah, I mean, the cover, I ain't gonna believe it or not, he was our highest, he had the highest rating in coverage on the Pro Football Focus. But the problem for him is he didn't have downfield speed. So he couldn't keep up with the speedsters or try to push them away because he'd think he's about to hold them, but nah, man, the game is playing. He was a horrible tackler. And I'm glad that we replaced him. Even with Trey Waynes, he's dealing with the injuries. The injuries gonna hurt though. But we got a lot of young bucks on the team that can be a number 1 and number 2 corner on the team. Though. So I just believe that Drake Kirkpatrick, it was a must move from him though, because he just couldn't tackle and his coverage skills wasn't that good.
Well, I already know he couldn't cover because he was leading the Bengals at one point with the most penalties, which was holding or pass interference. So I already know he can't cover. I really don't look at the Pro Football Focus. I look at the style of play and how you can play. And at one point, the craziest thing, and this is why I read, he coming out of college, he didn't know how to backpedal. I don't know any corner who don't know how to backpedal. And that's honestly what he said at one point. So if you can't backpedal playing in the big leagues, no way should you even be on the rating of the top rated, corner based on Pro Football Focus. You're leading the most penalties, deep pass interference. You can't hold the best receivers. Then you got to go.
So let me ask you this, Lawrence, though. So, this past draft in April and stuff, the Bengals, we drafted number 1 overall Joe Burrow. And I was pretty excited about it. And Trey always just glue around, said, you think he's the savior in Cincinnati? Oh, he's not going to save nothing. He's going to be a bust. Matter of fact, Tua Tagovailoa is a better quarterback than him. So I want to know your personal reaction when we drafted Joe Burrow. I want to be honest.
Honestly, I think it's a great pick because you have to look at a different situation. First of all, we're looking at a guy who broke a lot of college football records and going to LSU. He started for Ohio State, and being a local guy, that's probably why he wanted to be close to home playing for Ohio State. I'm sure at one point he thought he was going to start. When he saw the opportunity wasn't there, he made a big move, going to the LSU, playing in the SEC conference, which we all know is a big, tough conference in all college football. We all know that. Not only did he go on the field to prove that he could be a starting quarterback, but he proved he could sit there and play like an NFL pro. That's something that we normally don't see. And note to everybody who doesn't know, this guy's from Athens, Ohio. So to sit there and bring a guy who's local, a local hero, coming in winning a national championship, Heisman Trophy winner, bring him in another tough situation in Cincinnati, Ohio, give him something to prove to say, hey, I can be that guy. I don't have to be an Andy Dalton. I don't have to be a Carson Palmer. I don't have to be a Boomer Esiason or a Ken Anderson. He's a guy who wants to be put in that position to go out there, play football, and prove these guys wrong. And I think that's what his mentality is. So I think it's a great pick because when was the last time the Bengals had that? We've never had that. You don't see that out of Andy Dalton. Even him being a second-round pick, saying he was going to back up Carson Palmer, we never seen that out of him. I'm sure we saw the energy on the field, but we never saw that out of Andy Dalton. We never saw that out of Carson Palmer.
Now, Lawrence, let me tell you something real quick because I've been trying to tell Clarence this, because he been riding this Joe Burrow train since last year. Like since last year, he been riding this Joe Burrow train. I want to give Joe Burrow a lot of credit because we know he won the Heisman last year. He had 60 touchdowns, just 6 interceptions. He had over 66 completion percentage last year, so he did a hell of a job last year with LSU. My question for Bengal fans is, do you ever feel like maybe Joe Burrow was just a one-year wonder because he went to Ohio State, he couldn't get the starting job there, and then he got to LSU, and in his first year in LSU, he had 16 touchdowns, just 5 interceptions. He had a breakout season last year, a historic season, honestly. But do you ever ask yourself as a Bengal fan, is this a one-year wonder? Because it's a great possibility that Joe Burrow could be a one-year wonder. And one more thing, real quick, Larkins. I feel like the weapons that he had at his disposal last year with LSU, with Justin Jefferson and my man Ja'Marr Chase and Clyde Edwards, he had some elite weapons that he was throwing the ball to last year in that LSU offense. I think he had better weapons with LSU than he's going to have with you guys as Bengals this year. What do you say to that?
Well, you also got to remember when he was at Ohio State, he was injured a little bit, which obviously decreased some time for him playing on the field. But you also have to remember there was other people that was hype behind, Dwayne Haskins Jr., and we see what he's doing in the NFL now, still looking to find his place there. And then you got another guy, what's his name? I honestly forgot. I forgot who was starting quarterback after him. But
Haskins.
He came, what was that?
Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he was injured that year. But again, he got put in a position where he could have either stayed or go to another tough situation. Now, I'm not saying the Big Ten is, a bad conference, but we know between the SEC and the Big Ten, we know what the tougher competition's at. When you got Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan, Wisconsin, when it comes to the SEC, everybody there's a powerhouse. And it's guaranteed if you can't beat Bama, there ain't no way you're going to make it to the national championship. And that's exactly what he proved to do. Now, I think we talk about him coming into a situation very similar to what he's been in. Again, I don't sit here and say him as a savior, but we can go as far as Joe Burrow goes if he has a protection. We all know that we constantly made excuses with Andy Dalton when it came to protection with not having alignment. Now, we're not being cheap about anything. We're actually going out there, going to get players and building around Joe Burrow. Defense, we've done a phenomenal job with in the draft and a free agency. Now we have our opportunity now to build around Joe Burrow. You know, and the way everybody's talking about, he's smart, very intelligent. He's ahead of the game as of right now. They talk very highly about him. Obviously, it's one thing to talk about it. We have to see that for ourselves. But, you know, I do see him as a guy who's going to come in, make a name, put himself on the map, put the seed back on the map, and put a team on his back and say, let's go out there and win.
Real quick, Clarence, before I just want you to know, Lawrence, Clarence already has him as a first ballot Hall of Famer. And that's my biggest problem. Like, I've heard comparisons to Joe Burrow from people that compared him to Peyton Manning. They compared him to Aaron Rodgers. They've compared him to even LeBron James. And I'm of the belief, wait, pump the brakes. Let's just see what this guy has. Let's not give him these expectations that could possibly be too high for him. And like I said, Clarence already think he's going to be in the Hall of Fame. So I just think that we need to relax and understand that there are some players that play well at the collegiate level and they don't be successful in the NFL. Go ahead, Clarence.
Well, before anything, I mean, I never said Hall of Fame because I'm not even there yet. I just want the season to start so I can see what he can do in tough game situations. So, Clarence, man, bang on the Bengal. I love you, man, but damn, chill out, bro.
Clarence ready. Yeah, Clarence. If it's up to Clarence, Lawrence, he already to induct him into the Hall of Fame. He ready for them to have that speech in Canton. He wanted to happen.
Now, look, Lawrence, it's the eye test, brother. You got to look at all these players that's been in the league, and you can just literally, clearly look them in the eyes like, oh, yeah, that guy is going to be very good this year. Like, people never thought about that Patrick Mahomes. It took the right scouts to scout him and tell Andy Reid, hey, that kid right there is going to be a beast. And for example, look at that Green Bay Packers staff. They drafted.
Don't compare him to no Green Bay Packers.
Look. I'm just saying this, Lord. They believe that he's the future quarterback of their franchise, and they feel like this guy is a raw prospect and he's gonna be good in a few more years. But we're not talking about the cheeseheads because they're irrelevant right now. But let me ask you this, Lauren. You know the Bengals, they like you said, they spent actually over almost $198 million. Who was the biggest like the free agent signing you was more excited for?
I mean, before the injury went down, Trey Waynes, because we never had a cornerback like him, and he has that leadership trait. And I know what he did for the Vikings. He's very disciplined. You also look at the head coach, who was a former defensive coordinator for the Bengals. He has that defensive mind to where he's going to do his job, and it's not, that mentality that he's given a job, he's going to cover him. Trey Waynes brings that leadership to the cornerbacks. And again, it's a young group right now. He doesn't come in and talk like Trey does. We don't care about the nickname, Swagger P, whatever he sit there and came up with. We don't care about that. Trey Waynes is a guy who just wants to go out there, play the game, and win. And at one point when he went out there, he was put in a couple positions where, they could have went to a championship and played for more. That was the biggest thing I was excited for. And another one I was excited for, I know you said number one, but DJ Redder was another one. Because, playing alongside with Geno Atkins and the inside, bringing that energy in the trenches, knocking out offensive linemen on their back, you can't get no better with that. When you apply pressure to the quarterback, it breaks the pocket. You break the pocket and get to the quarterback, you got a chance to win the game. So those two alone bring that presence back to the Cincinnati Bengals. And I'm sure there's a lot more signings that they got, because another one recently we got was another former Pro Bowl, Mike Daniels, who played with the Houston Texans and had a run in with Detroit Lions as well. So
and he was a stud with the Packers. He played with us.
Yeah, you're right. He was the Packers. Yeah. So he was a stud. So again, we're bringing that. We're going out there. We're not doing our old Bengal thing. We're going out there again, players who we're familiar with, who used to play for us. We're not doing none of that. We're going out there again, guys who actually know what it takes to win, has been in that position to where they need to win.
I think though, Lawrence, you and Clarence and other Bengal fans got to remember something though about Trey Waynes. Y'all are happy about Trey Waynes because there's nowhere to go but up at the cornerback position, because you've had Drake Kirkpatrick for the last few years guarding the opposing team's best receiver. I've seen Trey Waynes get cooked by Devontae Adams. Devontae Adams has had his games where he has cooked Trey Waynes. I'm telling y'all right now. And I know Devontae is one of the best receivers we have in the NFL, but I done seen Trey Waynes get lit up by Devontae in some games, fellas. I'm serious.
I'm sure that's true, but I'm sure there's other guys who said he's been able to cover. I'm sure he could play against guys like Antonio Brown, Mike Evans, AJ Green at one point. I'm sure he could cover guys like that. So, yeah, that's one receiver. And I give Devontae Adams prop where it is, man. We already know he's been the top receiver in the game, especially with a guy like Aaron Rodgers throwing to him. But when you talk about Drake or Patrick, he can't cover nobody. He can't even cover a third-string receiver. He can't cover nobody. You can send him the video of me telling him that. He can't cover nobody. So I'm glad it's an upgrade. I'm glad. I believe in Trey Waynes over Kirkpatrick any day. That's what we needed. We need a change like that. So, of course, Bengal fans are going to be saying that because we need that change. We need it because I'm tired of it. I don't want to feel like a Cleveland Brown.
So, okay. Go ahead, Clarence.
No, you go ahead, Trey.
Okay, so you know that in the offseason, Lawrence, AJ Green, he signed a one-year deal, $18.2 million franchise tender for your Bengals. You know, for his career, he has 63 touchdowns, close to 9,000 receiving yards on his career, 602 receptions.
Yep.
What are your expectations for AJ Green? Because we know last year he didn't play a single snap for your Bengals, and he hasn't really played at an elite level since 2017. What are your expectations for your number one receiver in AJ Green, Lawrence?
Besides finding a way to stay healthy because he went down with an injury again, it's minor. But the thing with him is that he has to stay healthy. You know, I'm sure that signing a franchise tender, it's not, of course, it's a franchise tender. We know he wants an extension and be a Bengal for life. We all know that. But he needs to stay healthy before he can sit there and ask for something like that. And I'm not saying he won't get it, but he has to show that he can at least play 15, 16 games. He can play 16 games outstanding. If he can get 15, I'll even be more happier. But, you know, that's why we brought in a guy like T. Higgins to come in, learn from the best, because you never know what happens. T. Higgins is going to be that guy, very similar build to AJ Green. So for my expectations, I expect him to come back in, get back in rotation, get back to the old Pro Bowl AJ Green that we know and love, and just play for that contract he wants. I believe he can do it, but he has to stay healthy.
I guarantee you, if AJ Green plays over 10 games, he's going to get paid, man.
I'm not going to say 10 because we can't just do 10 games. I'm sorry, because we did that years ago. Even though he showed he can make a Pro Bowl, every game is critical. Every game counts. You need AJ Green on that field at least 15, 16 games at this point. And I know that he's at the point in his career, right? You know, 31, 32 right now, roughly. You know, he's in his prime, but eventually that's going to decline. He already saying he sees himself, you know, 4 or 5 more years with the Bengals. So if anything, if he wants that, he's got to play it now. I don't think 10 games is going to do it, especially if there's a guy who's in rotation where you got T. Higgins and you got John Ross, who's also playing for something, though I'm not going to speak on that, but that's another guy who's playing for something. Auden Tate is another guy who's playing for something because he's a sleeper. He's a guy of bigger body than AJ Green and T. Higgins combined. So, yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying. I get it. But 10 games, it's not going to do it. If I'm the guy in the management and I'm looking at AJ Green, he's playing 10 games doesn't mean anything. It honestly doesn't, because when it comes to the playoffs, would I rather have him for playoffs or I'd rather have him for regular season? I'd rather have him for playoffs, but I need it for regular season to make sure we get there.
Well, Lawrence, y'all not going to the playoffs anyway, so you ain't got to worry about that. But I mean, y'all not going to the playoffs. I got y'all finishing 4th in the AFC North, but I want to say this about AJ Green.
Oh, what? 4th? Dang,
yes.
Jeez Louise.
Well, let's go there since you want to go there, Lawrence. Where do you have your Bengals finishing in the AFC North?
I see them at least 3rd. I don't see them dead last because I know we gotta handle business with the Ravens. I never sleep on the Steelers, but at the same time, the Steelers aren't who they used to be. So if we have a shot at anything, and we can at least get to 3rd, I'm cool with that. I do believe we have a shot to make a run for the playoffs. I do believe that still, but I don't believe we're going to be dead last. There's no way.
So
now with the change that we sit there and revamped in the offseason, especially defensively, there's no way I'm seeing that.
So who you think going to be last behind you guys?
Browns.
Wow. No way. There's no way. Now let me. Now you think the Browns are going to finish last? You know the Browns They got a ton of weapons offensively. You got a great receiver in Odell Beckham, a great number 2 in Jarvis Landry, got studs at the running back position, and Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt. You got studs at running back, and you also got.
And I'm not denying that, but here's the thing: when you sit there and saw that roster from last year, I had them in number 2 and in the playoffs.
You got Cleveland?
I had them number 2, and I had them in the playoffs with the roster that they had. Absolutely.
But Lawrence, football coaching matters in football more than any other sport. We know Freddie Kitchens last year, he was inept and over his head. He didn't deserve that job to begin with. I think now that they got Kevin Stefanski in the fold, I think the Cleveland Browns are going to be a much improved team, and they're going to be competing for a playoff spot. I'm not ready to say they're going to go to the playoffs just yet, but I think they got a shot. That's why I got your Bengals 4th in the AFC North.
We'll see how Baker Mayfield performs, seeing how he's got another coach, and we'll see if he can sit there and be consistent. Not saying he hasn't. I'm sure he's improved, and he has improved, especially with the coaching changing despite the situation. But you cannot have that many weapons and finish at the bottom like that. Like, you just can't.
Oh, I agree.
Even with and I get it, Freddie Kitchens coming in, he didn't deserve the job. I get all that. But at the same time, they should have never even been at the bottom. Like, you can't finish 6-10 with all that talent. I at least had them with 10, 11 wins. There's no way.
This is a put up or shut up year for Baker Mayfield. Me and Clarence even agree to that. This is a put up or shut up year for Baker.
Oh, yeah. Because if he can't get it done with all that, guess what? It's time to go.
Go ahead, Clarence.
Yeah. Now, I think they let him go. He's going to be the 26th quarterback that let go on the Browns team. But Lawrence, let me ask you this. John Brees had 3 bold expectations for the Bengals. He said Burrow going to lead the AFC North in touchdown passes and set the rookie record. Nixson going to be the leading AFC rusher. And the Bengals, and he feel like the Bengals going to have the biggest improvement in the NFL. Which one you more think is likely going to happen?
Biggest improvement with the Bengals in the NFL. That's the only thing I look for right now, because I'm still iffy about that offensive line. Despite Joe Mixon going over 1,000 yards, even with a bad offensive line, the passing game was absolutely horrible. We know that. Maybe we keep blaming it on Andy Dalton. We blame it on the offensive line. We blame it on so many different things. Obviously, the offensive line, no. And it hasn't been the same since Andrew Whitworth left to the Los Angeles, and then Kevin Zeitler signed with the Browns at one point. The offensive line hasn't been the same since then. So it's honestly going to be up to the Bengals offensive line to sit here and figure out where the Bengals are going to stand at. I do believe that Joe Burrow will shock the world with the numbers he's going to put up. I don't believe he will be leading the NFL with touchdowns. I don't believe he'll lead the AFC North with touchdowns. He very well could, but
hell no.
Prove me wrong. I do believe he has a chance to get Rookie of the Year. But the only way that's going to happen is offensive line gives him that protection. And we still have a lot of rebuilding to do because we've been working on defense. We haven't even yet to work on offensive line. We sit there signing some guy from the Cowboys, but even one person doesn't make a difference. It has to be the whole offensive line.
Yeah, see, for me, I feel like Joe Burrow's going to struggle in his first year in the AFC North. That's a tough division. The Ravens got a great defense. The Steelers got a great defense. I don't know if y'all remember last year, the Steelers were one game away from making the playoffs, because they got a great coach in Mike Tomlin, one of the best coaches we have in the NFL, and because they had a great defense. I think Joe Burrow going to struggle in his first year, fellas, because I think defensively they're going to cause headaches for Joe Burrow. But let's transition real quick, Lawrence, to the rest of the NFL. Give me your top 5 quarterbacks currently in the NFL right now.
Top 5?
Top 5.
Patrick Mahomes. Wait, it's got to be in order?
Nah, no particular order.
Okay, cool. All right. Because he sat there and said, wait a minute, hold on. I didn't know what he was going to say. So I'm thinking Patrick Mahomes. I like Lamar Jackson. Aaron Rodgers still on my list.
Okay.
Drew Brees is definitely on my list still. And people don't want to hear me say it. I'll say Tom Brady. I didn't want to say it, but I can never sleep on Tom Brady. And I'm going to tell you why. Because every single time we sit here and think he ain't going to be the same. He's not going to do something special. He winds up doing the special stuff that he used to do. And I hate saying that. I don't want to say number 1, but he's in that position again where he's going to prove me wrong. Because he went to Tampa Bay, a whole different system, a whole different team. We'll see what he can do.
So you got Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, you got Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, and Drew Brees. That's your top five.
Yeah.
Okay, let me address that real quick, Clarence, before you go. First of all, Tom Brady isn't better than Deshaun Watson. He isn't better than Russell Wilson. He isn't better than Carson Wentz. That's just off the top of my head. He's not better than any of those three I just named. I can't believe you, Lawrence. You don't even have Russell Wilson in your top five? The disrespect to Russell Wilson?
I like him, man. I like Russell Wilson. Don't get me wrong. But I'm at that point where Tom Brady's in that position where he's going to sit there and basically can make another team great. He basically pulled a Peyton Manning. I'm not going to lie, because everybody was sitting here talking about Peyton Manning, not going to be the same. He go out there, throw some crazy numbers his first year after surgery. Obviously, the situation is a little bit different than that because he's still proving he still wants to prove he can play football. He's just going in a real tough situation, not to mention playing in the same division as Drew Brees. So that's where it's going to get interesting. But I'm not knocking Russell Wilson. Trust me, that's one of the guys. I love him too. That's just what I'm looking at right now, man.
Go ahead, Clarence, real quick before we get out of here.
Look, Brady's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL right now, so I'm just going to say
no,
that.
he's not. No, he's not.
Listen, better than Carson Wentz. He's better than Deshaun Watson, and he's damn sure better than Russell Wilson. He's better than all three of them guys. He's a top 5 quarterback in the NFL, and what he's about to do with Tampa Bay, he might break Peyton records, man. So it's a possibility.
Don't go that far. I said he was gonna find a way to make it better. Don't do that. I won't even say break records.
He's gonna break. It's a possibility he can break Peyton Manning record with the most touchdowns in the season. He has better weapons, so that might be on the lookout, man.
Well, if he does that, we're going to have to revisit the conversation because I don't believe he's going to be breaking any records this season.
Definitely, man. Real quick before we get out of here, I got a couple more for you. We're gonna stay on a couple more minutes. So, how do you feel about the young quarterbacks? We know we got Dak Prescott with the Dallas Cowboys. We got Carson Wentz with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now we got Joe Burrow with your Cincinnati Bengals. You know, it's a ton of Lamar Jackson with the Baltimore Ravens. It's a ton of young talent at the quarterback position. Kyler Murray in Arizona. You know, who do you feel like is the next quarterback that's on the come up in the NFL that's going to take that torch, you know, from some of the best like Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady? Not take Patrick Mahomes out of this. I'm just talking about everybody else.
Clarence, you want to go with that one first?
That's for you, Lawrence.
That's for me first?
Yeah,
we're doing the same thing.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at 2 players right now, Lamar Jackson being one of them. Again, the reason why I sit here and talk about Lamar Jackson so much is because he was just another version of, I want to say, Michael Vick 2.0, but he's better. He's taller, quicker, a lot smarter, better arm, wants to read the defense, and he'll make you pay if you miss a tackle one time. So Lamar Jackson is definitely a guy who's coming in, changing the game with the talent that he has. And I'm mad that you took out Patrick Mahomes because I was looking at a video of him the other day saying he's going to do a behind-the-back pass in the NFL game. So if he does that, then we got to put him back on the list. But another guy that I like is Deshaun Watson. Russell Wilson used to be on the list, but he's kind of in that veteran age right now. So Deshaun Watson, you know, he's another guy who comes in with the same similar talent. He may not be fast as Lamar Jackson. He's not as tall as Lamar Jackson, but again, he's a guy who's going to make you pay. He knows how to sit in the pocket, make the throw. He'll take a hit, but he can also use the speed to get out. And that's kind of what we're looking at in the league now because it used to just be a passer. We want a guy who can do both. We want a guy like Lamar Jackson. We want a guy like Deshaun Watson. We want a guy, not going to say Joe Burrow's going to do it because, you know, he's not as fast as either of them, but they want to be able to have a guy who can play inside and outside the pocket. That's where the damage is going to be done at on any part of defense.
Yeah, see, Lawrence, I'm of the belief that, I told Clarence this before as well, I believe that Deshaun Watson, he's a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Like I think he's a better passer in the pocket, and he can threaten the defense, you know, more than Lamar Jackson from a passing standpoint right now. I think Lamar is a better playmaker than Deshaun. I think Deshaun is a better passer. And I also think Deshaun Watson is very clutch. If you remember last year in the playoff game against the Buffalo Bills, he made some key clutch plays for the Houston Texans that got to the divisional round. And last year, he had 26 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, completed 67% of his passes. I just think Deshaun Watson, if I'm picking quarterbacks, and I'm picking the young quarterbacks, I'm giving a slight, in the slightest margin, I'm giving a slight edge with Deshaun Watson over Lamar Jackson, but I don't think you go wrong with either one.
I think
No,
Lamar
you
has better pocket presence than Deshaun Watson because he can read defenses and he can know when a blitz coming and he can escape it quicker. But Deshaun Watson, he's a brilliant quarterback too. That's all.
Yeah.
He's a
Now, Lawrence, let's get your top 5 receivers quickly. Like your top 5 receivers. Can you name your top 5 receivers?
Mike Thomas, Devontae Adams.
Okay.
You caught me off with this one, man. I wouldn't even think about this. AJ Green, he got hurt again. That's gone.
Don't include AJ in this.
Yeah, I don't want to say he's not on the list. Oh my God, you just put me in a tough position already, man. I was not even thinking about that.
You got Tyreek Hill with Kansas City. You got DeAndre Hopkins with Arizona.
Tyreek.
DeAndre Hopkins with Arizona.
Hopkins, yeah, because he was with the Texans.
Julio.
One more.
Julio. I feel the same way.
Yeah, but
What about Odell? What about Odell, Lawrence?
No, not Odell, not no more. No.
What?
No.
What?
No.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Odell is
He was not even healthy. He wasn't even healthy when he was at the Browns. When he went to the Browns, he didn't do. Jarvis Landry put up more numbers than him, and he was healthy and played more games than him. No, maybe if he was with the Giants still, no. But
Okay.
I do got a sleeper on my list now, and I'm going to say Mike Adams. He's one of those sleepers on my list.
Mike Adams. Okay.
You mean Mike
okay.
Evans?
Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Mike Evans with the Bucs. Okay.
Mike Adams with the Bucks.
Real quick here, Lawrence. Give me your Super Bowl matchup for next season.
Kansas City Chiefs making it again, and New Orleans Saints.
What? Over Brady? You tripping now, man. No.
Look, man, like I said, Brees has a lot of game left just like Tom Brady.
Brees
But when it
don't
comes to that division and when it comes to the wide receiver, man, I can never go wrong with Mike Thomas, man. And we already know that everybody that Brees has played with on that roster is better than the Bucs roster as far as weapons go, man.
Lawrence, real quick, we got to roll. Go ahead and shout out your social media to everybody out there, Lawrence.
You can catch me on L Wright Productions on YouTube, L Wright Productions on Facebook. Make sure you look up Trojan Black as well. They got a game heading down to Louisville. So if you got time, root for them as well. You interested in getting them signed? Your kids sign up for Trojan Black? Go on Facebook, hit them up. Instagram, L Wright Productions as well, 513. Anything you type in L Wright Productions, you will find me. And I'm currently working on the series Trojan Black, Cincinnati's own. So I can't wait to sit here and show y'all the first few episodes when it's all finalized. And I'll let you know when it's up and going because I want to come on the show and talk about that as well to see what people got to talk about. I'm looking forward to it.
We'll bring you back on, Lawrence. We appreciate you coming on, bro, for sure.
Yeah. Hey, Clarence, hold off on that Hall of Fame talk, man. I don't want nobody jinxing nothing, man. Hold off on that, please. For real.
Trust and believe.
All right. I appreciate it. We appreciate it, Lawrence.
Hey, I appreciate y'all. Thanks for having me on.
Have a good night, bro.
Yep.
All right.